Everyone, welcome to the Dino Bidala Show on SiriusXM Channel 127. It is Tuesday, August 10th. Two big stories we're going to cover on my show, but the first one, of course, is Governor Cuomo resigning. And it really says so much when you take a step back and look at this. Governor Cuomo was forced out by his fellow Democrats. Just keep in mind, Democrats control the state assembly and the Senate in New York. So in the case of Democrats, it was Democrats who forced Cuomo out. Meanwhile, look at the GOP that celebrates and defends a serial sexual predator like Donald Trump. And it really is such a great gap between these two parties. And there are Democrats who are going to say, and I know they said this a few days ago on my show, and I'm sure some will call and say tonight, oh, we eat our own and we kill our own. And this is why the GOP is stronger. No, they're morally bankrupt. They're not a political party. They're a white nationalist movement that is now celebrating a man who was incited a terrorist attack on January 6th. If Governor Cuomo was a Republican, Fox News would be smearing the women as liars. Host after host would be doing that. Guest after guest would be doing that to show their loyalty to Donald Trump. Thankfully, we didn't see that. We saw Democrats and progressive voices in the media say before, let's have the investigation by AG. And when it came out, most people said what he did was so bad he should resign, or at least they said it was horrible. There was no progressives in the media, no Democrats in the media I know defending what Cuomo had done to the women. You might say it's not enough to resign or be impeached. That's a different discussion. But overwhelmingly, people were like, it's time for you to go. From President Biden to local officials here in New York, every member of Congress in New York, the senators, you name it. And Governor Cuomo was pushed out. Now, the question is, where does the Democratic Party go from here in New York? We're going to have our first female governor ever in the history of New York. As stunning as it might seem, I mean, there's been female governors of New Jersey, of states like Alabama and South Carolina have elected women governors, but not New York. So Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul will become governor in 2 weeks and 14 days. There may be a primary next year. She might have some competition, or if she does a good job, maybe she gets elected for her own full term come next November, a year from now in November. We'll see. But this was the right move. Governor Cuomo even understood it was the right move. It was beyond a distraction. We have to lead by example as Democrats. And if it means eating our own, as people will say, well, there are times we're going to, because we can't be GOP light. Because if we are, we're lost. If we're going to be just slightly different than the party that's a white nationalist fascist movement, that their leader, Donald Trump, defends every Republican man who abused women, from Roy Moore to Bill O'Reilly to Roger Ailes to Rob Porter, his aide. You might not remember that name, but 2 years ago, his ex-wives to him said Rob Porter had beaten them. We saw a picture of one of them with a black eye, and Donald Trump defended that person. Do we want to be that party? Or do you want to be in a party that you can be proud of? And you can say, well, sometimes we're too sensitive. Sometimes we go overboard. Well, I'd rather be in that party than the one that defends a terrorist, one that defends every horrible man that does something horrible to women, the party that doesn't believe in democracy. We have to lead by example. And Governor Cuomo resigning was important because he was forced out by fellow Democrats, not Republicans. It's Democrats who control the state assembly and the state senate here. It's Democrats in Congress in New York who called for him to go. It was President Biden, a Democratic president, who said last week it's time for him to go. We did the right thing. I think you'd be proud of our party. We're not perfect, but we're leading by example, and this is so important for us in the big picture. We're showing everyone in this nation we are not GOP light. It's not politics as normal. We're not going to wink at horrific behavior and say it's okay for the sake of power. No, we're not. So we'll discuss that. I'm sure we'll get a lot of phone calls on my show tonight. Why don't you join us? If you don't subscribe to SiriusXM, go to the website, SiriusXM.com. Free trials right there on the front page. Sign up. Costs you nothing. Call into my show. It's live 6 to 9 p.m. tonight and every weeknight on SiriusXM, channel 127. Call and be part of our family. We've got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. If you want progress, stay active. There's no place better than on SiriusXM Progress. Thanks for tuning into the preview of tonight's Dino Bidala Show.